Mercury is about to head retrograde on December the 13th from the sign of Capricorn, and he's going to tie together a three-part story that started on December 8th, will continue to December the 18th, and then finally stick the landing on January 19th with one of the most fortunate and lucky, happy endings I've seen in a long time. That makes for me this retrograde period very exciting. And although he starts his retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, he does go all the way back to 22 degrees of Sagittarius. This means as we're about to delineate how this works for your sun, your moon, or your rising sign, we're going to also be talking about how this impacts your Capricorn and Sagittarius real estate in the 12 pie slice houses of your natal sky. So let's get going and talk about this extremely interesting, very fortunate retrograde cycle. It is starting on December the 13th and will, by the way, complete on January 1st in terms of the actual retrogradation. If you are new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothe and I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses. I am also very fond of the minor asteroids and the fixed stars, and I talk a lot about them in most of my videos. If you're new to my channel, hit the like button, subscribe, and that bell for notification, because I put out, I'm not kidding you, about 25 minimum videos per month. And I also do a lot of live premieres. Finally, because Mercury retrograde is so exciting, because this one is involving his retrograde motion into the heart of the sun, which is a super powered energy on the 22nd of December. Check out my free Mercury retrograde webinar down below. It's happening at a very potent 0 degrees, a critical degrees, 0 Capricorn. You won't want to miss that webinar. Learn how to harness that Mercury sun combination, which is very magical and very powerful. So let's get talking about this guy. The first thing I want to say is that I'm not going to do a lot of astrology about the world in this video. Normally, I have a lot of mundane astrology on my channel. I'm not feeling that this is going to be useful today because this Mercury retrograde is extremely complicated. So I really want to show what it looks like to you and get you to really grind into the basics of this Mercury retrograde. But most importantly, Mercury trine Jupiter, Mercury trine Jupiter, Mercury trine Jupiter, three very beneficial and amazing contact points that he's making before, during, and after this retrograde. That is really the heart of what matters to me about this retrogradation cycle. So let's start off with the basic idea that Mercury retrograde is close to Earth. Mercury retrograde is looking like he moves backward from our vantage point on Earth. Mercury retrograde is in a time which he makes himself more known to us by often travel delays and upsets with electronic equipment, communication snafus, Freudian slips, and the hot mess of Mercury retrograde. It's not a myth. These things do seem to happen, but he's also the trickster, the coyote, and the magician, and he's playing with us magically. He's like tricking us and having fun, but he's also bringing our attention like a pattern interrupt, like Neo in the Matrix that sees the glitch when the cat walks by the same place twice. This is a way we can awaken or notice something about reality beyond our kind of trance hypnotic state of believing everything we see is what it is. And synchronicities increase dramatically for most people who pay attention when Mercury's close to the Earth and therefore appears to move backward from our vantage point here on this geocentric look at the sky. One of my favorite astrologers, Gary Caton, who's an expert on Mercury and wrote a book about it, will be joining my channel for a discussion of Mercury in his fire year next year as he goes through retrogrades in all the fire signs, and that makes it a very intense energy for fire signs next year. So hopefully you will subscribe, because that deep dive with him is extremely useful. And you can check my 2020 last year's playlist, 2023 big transits, for the talk I had with him about this year's elemental Earth year. And these happen to go in cycles with Mercury. So usually about every 4 years we get an Earth, and every 4 years we get an air, and every 4 years we get a water, and every 4 years we get a fire cycle. Next year's fire. So I doth digress. The key here is that Mercury can be very magical and very powerful. And the retrograde is about getting in touch with the synchronistic, the omens, the portents, the magic, and that divine flow that we're capable of receiving. Not just about your computer breaking down and the trips that are delayed and the miscommunications or the emails that never land. It's not just about that, in my humble opinion or my experience. Okay. Next thing I want to mention about this story of Mercury retrograde is that because he starts his retrograde in Capricorn, where he entered December 1st, by the way, he leaves Capricorn February 5th. Yeah, normally Mercury's in a sign for 3 weeks. This is a long stay, all of December, all of January, because of the retrograde cycle. Because when he retrogrades, he doesn't retrograde in Capricorn only. He's going to retrograde back into Sagittarius. So let's get a hold of the story. I'm going to show you the sky. I'm going to show you all of the things he's doing. Then we're going to do your sign. When we do your sign, I'm really, really focused for you, most primarily on the Jupiter, the very lucky Jupiter Mercury narrative. I want you to go back to December 8th, 9th, 10th, or give or take a few days around December 8th, because that's when Mercury did trine Jupiter, and he will trine Jupiter from retrogradation on December 18th. And he will also finally go forward and in a glorious finale, trine Jupiter, who's now direct as well, January 19th, while also forming a sextile to Saturn. This creates a mini grand trine that makes all of this worth it. Something really good is trying to happen in your life and my life as well. What does Mercury do when Mercury's talking to Jupiter? It's often commercial success, really good ideas, good news, an ability to communicate effectively. I'm going to read a little bit, though, from Lucky Communications, Ren Butler's The Archetypal Universe, Butler, Archetypal Universe, one of my favorite books and my teacher friend. And here's a few things he says about it. You know, when it's in a flow, which is a trine, it's broad, expansive mind, wide-ranging interests, a positive, optimistic outlook, a gift for planning and negotiating, and well-timed buying and selling. So that's one way of looking at it. There's a little quote here from Emerson that is, "Speak the affirmative. Emphasize your choice by uttering all of," sorry, let me say that again. Speak the affirmative. Emphasize your choice by ignoring. Oh my God. Emphasize your choice by utter ignoring of all that you reject. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that one. I like that. It's almost like a New Age saying, but it was Emerson who had a Mercury square Jupiter in his natal chart. Speak what you want. Speak the affirmative. So it sounds like The Secret, right? And emphasize what you want, your choice, by ignoring everything that you reject completely. So don't entertain what's not possible. Focus on what is possible, or anything is possible. Now, here's the other thing about this Mercury-Jupiter connection. Mercury-Jupiter connection can be extremely fortunate when it comes to anything that you wish to communicate, because Mercury is the communication god. And of course, Jupiter is the greater benefic that brings luck and growth. So anybody here listening today who's a writer, who's a speaker, who messages the world in any way, it's going to amplify some of those abilities as it connects to your earthy domains of Taurus and Capricorn, where this is partially happening, well, where it is happening between those two earth signs. Okay, that's going to be a place of great strength to be very fortunate, maybe even wealthy and successful commercially, if anything you're doing involves messaging as a particular talent, gift, or skill, or the way you work, including selling, by the way, because you have to convince someone to buy something. You give them the message of why they need the thing that you're selling or the thing that they should have. All right, so let's get going and let me show you the sky. I want to look at my notes. What else do I want to tell you on my notes? I do want to mention this. I want you to just kind of listen in for a bit before we look at the sky together and talk about the 3 Jupiter stories for each sign. I want you to consider this, okay? I want you to think about this. Well, tell me to say 2 things. The old pre-shadow thing. Mercury is in its pre-shadow from November 25th, right? Before the retrograde to December 13th. The pre-shadow of the retrograde. And he's in his post-shadow of the retrograde on January, oh my goodness. From January 20th? Yeah, he goes direct on January 1st. And he does get out of the retrograde zone on January 20th. Alrighty. So there is this like retrograde precursor and postcursor energy that we call shadow. The fellow Gary Caton, astrologer, who's coming onto my channel, made a comment today on Facebook. I'm recording on December 6th for my Patreon community first. And oh, by the way, my 2024 signs all bundle fundraisers on for $59. If you missed the pre-sale at $49, you can get the until January 1st Christmas price of $59, 12 videos, 75 to 90 minutes each for each sign. Get it for your friends and family. It's a bundle package, PDF document, access to all of those private videos, and you can share with other people, listen for your sun, moon, and rising, or join my Patreon, check below why. I don't want to always sell you guys stuff, but I want you to consider that shadow zone, Mercury retrograde shadow, pre and post. Gary said something today on Facebook I found interesting. He mentioned that, he doesn't kind of believe the general hype. It's just like Mercury retrograde. Like the pre and post are just like the retrograde. It's just, we notice it's happening and it's just like a retrograde. And he said that Mercury makes a loop in the sky, okay, a loop when he retrogrades, if you look at the celestial motion. And he pointed out that as Mercury is going into the pre-shadow, which is November the 25th, until December the 13th. He's actually ascending. All right. He's in an ascension toward the north node. He's going up. And that there's something about that can imply that we're moving up towards something as we move between now and December 13th, that there's a climb up a mountain or a hill to reach something that we really want, and things may be going up or well for us. And there's a wondering in his write-up today on Facebook that perhaps this can also indicate that when Mercury is finished with the retrograde and goes down the ascent, that we will not be able to hold on to some of the really cool stuff and the really good things that seem to be happening during the ascent. All right, so I'm just going to say, is that true? I don't know. It's a hypothesis. I'll be watching to see if that is true. Other thing I want you to consider is this. This is a retrograde cycle that's been involving a lot of Earth for the simple reason that this last 2023 was an elemental Earth year, and Mercury spent a lot of time in Taurus, a lot of time in Virgo, and a lot of time in Capricorn. And those signs received a lot of attention from Lord Mercury. Next year, it is the fire signs of Sag, Aries, and Leo. And that because this is coming to an end, it's also a bit of Earth, right? Capricorn, but Mercury backs into fire. He's giving us a flavor of what we can expect next year when his three major retrogrades and cazimis involve totality of fire energy. Second thing I want you to consider here about the story is that in October of 2024 and February of 2025, Mercury will be connected in his trines to Jupiter. All right, because that's what we're talking about now in the air signs, because Jupiter will move next year in the third week of May into the sign of Gemini, which is air. And therefore, October next fall, he will flow to Jupiter from Libra. And in February of 2025, he'll flow to Jupiter from Aquarius. So this is a last chance saloon to really catch the wave of those Earth trines from Mercury to Jupiter, which can bring some commercial success, buying and selling wealth, and really amazing ideas that are going to bring goodness and prosperity to you. So going back in time, for example, I don't know if I wrote this down, but I'm looking to see if I did. Yes, I did. August 10th of 2023 and September 4th of 2023 and September 25th of 2023, Mercury was retrograding in Virgo and creating that trine, three-part trine to Jupiter. So that you can go back from your Virgo to Jupiter and Taurus, Virgo, Taurus axis of your sky, to see how it felt when Jupiter and Mercury were collaborating back then. But now it's involving your Capricorn real estate instead, another Earth sign, right? So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you the chart, and we're going to do the all signs portion of the video. Don't forget, if you listen for your rising sign, it's probably the best, right? Because it's like everything about you. And if you don't know how to cast your chart, at all, there's a tutorial below how to cast your chart and find your rising sign, but I called it how to cast your chart in whole sign houses. And that will also allow you to find your rising sign, which is determined by your time, place of birth already, and day, of course, and year. And also secondly, try the whole sign house system will change your life. And lastly, your sun can be your father figures, career and purpose, and, orientation toward that purpose, as well as a deeper part of you, your soul, where your moon and its sign, of course, is about your home life, your mom, your mother figures in your life, your emotional needs. And in ancient astrology, it can also be about your body, right? It belongs to the sublunar sphere, to do with the material world, not the spiritual world above the horizon. And so let's go ahead and share the screen. Here we are. And I'm going to talk about this journey of Mercury through Capricorn. So we can see that if we go all the way back to down in the background here, I'm going to give you a time frame. I'm going to take a lot of junk out of the trunk, guys. There's just too much happening here, because the real story I want to share with you is by far, the story of Mercury connecting to Jupiter, And that's what I really want to focus on. So let me take away a few people. There are a lot of asteroids that are going to be talked about by me as this Mercury journey goes in my weekly astrology forecasts that come out every Monday. And if that kind of thing interests you, then please check in with me about that. I mean, subscribe to my channel, right? That kind of thing. But I don't know that I want you to clutter the chart. So let's make it a little more simple. So as you can see, there's Mercury and there is Jupiter. Jupiter is retrograding until December 30th in the sign of Taurus. And so he's going backwards over old ground. He's an inner guru. And maybe there's parts of your Taurus real estate in your chart, like for an Aries rising over here. This is your second house of money, Aries, and earnings and resources, and also things that you ingest in your mouth. And he's going back to revise things during September through December 30th. And then Jupiter will go direct, on December 30th. That's where we're going to have this glorious ending. So just watch very closely what's happening here. So here's Mercury getting ready to form a trine on December 6th. And by December 8th, he's going to be in a perfect trine, and he has been. So this is behind us now. So you're going to look at the things that happened around December the 8th, which is a Friday. So you can go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or December, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. What was happening in your life that had that Mercury Jupiter signature? Remember, it can be tall tales, by the way, but it can be this kind of hope, faith, and optimism around new ideas, new good news coming in, commercial success, good timing on buying and selling, and multiple things. It really depends on the meaning of your Capricorn and the meaning of your Taurus house where this is happening. We'll be delineating that for you shortly in your all signs portion. And I'll watch Mercury as he moves forward and then watch what he does next. Okay, well, if I go back a bit, just since we're here now already, I can go, all right. At this point, he's forming, which is on December the 10th, and it's behind you now, probably most of you by the time you hear this, but some of you still will get it. On December the 10th, he's forming a lovely little wedge with Venus and Jupiter. And then that's a nice little bright day in the sky, positive time. That is glorious, happy times between Mercury and Venus. Nothing like a good sextile between the goddess of money and love and Mercury, the god of communication. So that's happening on December the 11th. But we're not really going to take that as the main focus. We're going to continue to move through the story. And we're going to see he retrogrades here on December 13th. It will be December the 12th, if, maybe like 11 p.m. for someone who lives Pacific Coast time. So it depends on where you live, but it's bracketing the 12th and the 13th. He's going to move into retrograde motion. And he does that at 8 degrees of Capricorn. Now, obviously, if you have a planet sitting at 8 Capricorn, that's important. But also, what if your sun, moon, or rising is at 8 degrees of Aries, 8 degrees of Cancer, 8 degrees of Libra? You're getting a direct square, and it's a big deal. It's really, you're feeling this retrograde. It means something to you. Like my moon is at 8 degrees of Aries in my third house. I will feel this connected to lunar activities in my third house of writing, among other things. I'm trying to go back and edit an old writing project. That's probably what that's about. I've started it already in the pre-shadow. So as Mercury begins to retrograde, he's getting ready to form the second Jupiter trine. First one was December 8th at 6 degrees Capricorn, 6 degrees of Taurus. The next one will be December 18th at 5 degrees. So let's watch this happen together. He goes back, 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 back. Oops. I went past the 18th, and there he is. 5 degrees and 5 degrees. Round 2, part 2. Something initiated around December the 8th, or something begun, is now going into a deeper reflection. I know what I did December the 8th, guys, around that time anyway. December 5th, 6th, 7th, I went back to an old manuscript and started to fix it up, a fiction project. So, then I'll be going back further and deepening what I began as someone with an Aries moon that's getting impacted by this retrograde in the house of writing. For me, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. That squares my moon. So as we see this retrograde motion again here, we see him going backwards, and we watch him cross over into Sagittarius. The crossing over the Sagittarius boundary line is around December the 23rd, just before Christmas. And as you can see, he's headed for a conjunction. Mars is heading toward him in Sagittarius here. And maybe this isn't big enough. I should have made it bigger. So I apologize. Mars is heading into a conjunction with Mercury. They're going to crash into each other. Reminds me of that old song, Crash, Crash Into Me, nada, Dave Matthews Band. And so here they come, boom. They're now Mars is going into Mercury's backing into Mars. It's a back end head on parking lot collision of some kind. Now, this 23rd of December crossing of Mercury into Sagittarius, while he's retrograding, means that there are things that he was doing when he was in direct motion through Sagittarius that you're now going back over as well. Now, because I'm going to do a video during this time in December, separate from this, I'm not going to talk about the meaning of the retrograde back into Sag yet. I will have another video on that. But the gist of it is a new story going on. Like, you have to go back over some old ground and revise, rethink, redo, or change your mind about some stories that were happening in the Sagittarius part of your sky. For an Aries rising, sun and moon secondarily, this is the 9th house of foreign travel, foreign lands, house of God, house of academics, the whole deal. He continues to retrograde backwards, as he is known to do, until he's ready to turn his butt around. And there we have it. At 22 degrees of Sag, he's now going direct January the 1st. And by the 2nd, he's in direct motion. So that's just to look at how the sky looks. I know it's probably boring, but some of you are learning astrology. And then he crosses back over that Sag border and it goes into Capricorn on the 14th of January. So this turning back into the Capricorn zone is going to re-enliven. Get ready, the last interaction from Capricorn to Taurus of Jupiter, and that will take place exactly on the 19th. And then we have it, 6 degrees, 6 degrees. And what's this? Saturn, Lord Saturn. This is worth annotating briefly because some of you might not be able to watch my cursor very well. So let me show you the happy ending that we're going to cover for all signs today. Annotate. Don't forget, if you're in the live premiere, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe. You notice that he's in a broad conjunction to Mars, but Mars in Capricorn is exalted. And technically, Mars is becoming visible as he's now moved 15 degrees away from the sun. And so we have a visible Mars. According to astronomers, he will be barely but slightly visible in January. I'm looking at the actual astronomers out there, not like, I don't know, for some reason the Babylonian astrologers are going, oh no, he's not visible until like May. And I'm like, I don't think so. Not according to astronomers. So, get your telescope out. If it's your naked eye you're looking for, maybe that's a problem. But he is 15 degrees away from the sun. And I do, from my research, notice that visibility, whether you're using a telescope or not, your naked eye or telescope does indicate a strong beginning of something new in this area of reality. And I'm going to do a whole video on the energy of that visible Mercury in Capricorn. And as he's here visible with visible Mars and they're co-joined, they're forming this, energy here of a sextile to Lord Saturn, who's also direct motion Saturn at 5 degrees of Pisces. And he's also trining, of course, Jupiter. Boom, here. And that creates this lovely little mini trine. And the mini trine is very fortunate. It's bound by 2 sextiles, which are the nature of Venus, which bring luck and ease and flow and goodness and opportunity, of course. And also a trine, the nature of Jupiter right here. So these angles are all lucky and positive and super fortuitous and easy and flowing and wonderful. So you can see around the 19th, this whole journey of Mercury in his trine relationship, 3-part story, December 8th, December 18th, and January 9th, can be extremely auspicious. Now, in the short run, it could be good economic news for the world, an uptick in the stock markets, just because Capricorn and Taurus are about currencies, cryptocurrencies for Taurus with Uranus. It could be a real swell in the crypto markets. There could be really good news economically that surprise people. There could be some positive developments, government interventions, perhaps to put new regulations in place, Saturn. And to reassure everybody, everything is okay. I'm still thinking the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in April, though, could topple some of the fervor of goodwill in the sky in January, but it could be a very positive stock market breakthrough and going through into January around this time. Or cryptocurrencies, just trying to guess some of the meanings, giving it a good shot here. Now, here's the thing. This mini grand trine doesn't last long because, of course, Mercury begins to move forward, right? So let's unannotate. Let's stop the annotation and get it out of here. Here we go. And let's go ahead and show you one more thing before we do all signs. And then I'm going to go for a walk on a beautiful sunny day in rural Georgia, where I'm visiting right now. Here we have this story of Mercury. Watch here. He is up here. I do not want to annotate. I thought I took it off. So take off the annotation. Goodbye. here's Mercury up here, 6 degrees, and he's going to move forward day by day. And you see now he's at 7 degrees. So he's really going to get away from that trine here to Saturn. And it's interesting because the trine it's really embodying around the 18th. And it's just a bit before that here. Let's say the 17th, he's more flowing to the planet Saturn. He's really moving into that relationship to Saturn and having a very fortifying and flowing discussion. And then he brings that conversation, that news to Jupiter. Right. But it still forms a trine. So we'll talk about that as well. So first Mercury, Saturn get down in a harmonious chit chat. And then Mercury brings that forward to Lord Saturn, and Lord Saturn will execute, I believe, with Mercury, the major story that's going on here in each of our lives. All right. Let's do the all signs portion. Then I'm going to stop the share for a sec, grab some water, and I'm not sure what I've got strange collaboration options on my Zoom. All right. So don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Shout out to Discerning Light, Ashley Sending Light, Steve the Jupiterian, One Wise Lady, One Rare Bird, Linda Calder, Herbal Empress. I'm going from my memory. You guys are my regulars. Michael Thrash. Ooh, some newbies there, Boiling Frogs, and our soul songs and more. Thank you for being a part of my live premiere, supporting my channel, helping it grow. Your support by being with me in those premieres is so appreciated. A couple of premieres in the last 2 weeks have gone to 500 or more people altogether watching during the live premiere. This is all new for me to come past the 300 or 400 mark. So I appreciate the growth that you give me by sharing, liking, and subscribing. This is my livelihood. This is my passion to you guys stories that help you make better decisions in your life and to ride with the flow of the universe, which I sometimes call God's clock. So let's get going and let's talk about your sign. We'll start with Aries and then we'll go through to Pisces. We'll probably spend about 3 minutes on each sign. And let's get rolling. If I talk a little too fast for you, I do get complaints. You can slow down the playback speed. It's a free feature on YouTube. You can slow me down. So you can listen slower instead of me talking slower, because I have 3 planets in Aries in the house of communication, 4 actually with an asteroid, and I'm an air sign Aquarius. So it all makes for a lot of fast speech. All right. I could have been an auctioneer. I'm trying to slow down everything in the beginning of this video for you guys just to make it easier. So I'm going to now move to the Aries story and go around this clock. And yeah, let's get rolling and then we'll be out of here. So I did forget to mention my Patreon community gets everything early access ad-free, such as this video that you'll get after they get it, usually minimum of 2 to 3 days before, sometimes a couple of weeks. But I also want to mention that I'm doing a special and it's going to end. It's going to end on the end of December. And that's where you can come into my Patreon community, try me out and leave. But for $5 for the lowest tier, you're getting the experience of that community and you get to have 2 free courses that I've already taught. You get the replay access right away. And you also get access to a class I will be teaching in the end of December. So a Chiron, a Key to Purpose, a Synastry relationship course for free. It's just like these are 90-minute classes. And then you get access to the live class using Chiron for life timing and purpose markers. And that's going to be taught in the 17th of December. So if you want to be in that live class with me, just jump into my Patreon and get free access. But also I'll be sending the replay link out for those of you who join Patreon after the 17th, just to try me out. Then you quit, and that's good with me. Take the money and run. All right, take the gifts and run. So let's get going, and let's get talking about this story. Oh, I'm really jazzed by this one. Can you tell how excited I am? It has been a show. Yes, a shit show. But anyway, with the Cazimi, with the South Node Venus square Pluto, with the eclipses. And this is one of the happier parts of being an astrologer. I get to talk about some of the sweeter stuff in the sky. So Mercury, here he is, January 18th. Why are we January 18th? The Mercury retrograde begins on December 13th to January 1st. The reason we're all the way here in January 18th is I'm focusing on, during the retrograde, the 3 passes with, December 8th before the retrograde, there is a trine to Jupiter. December 18th, there is a trine to Jupiter. This is retrograde Mercury, trining retrograde Jupiter. And then on January 19th, it's a retrograde. It's a direct motion Mercury, trining a direct motion Jupiter, forming this glorious little mini triangle to Lord Saturn. And that's what we're really going to focus on here and how this may play out for you. Don't forget, where Mercury is going into this flow to Lord Jupiter, he's doing it from the sign that belongs to Saturn. So Saturn will want to really, work with this event, right? He'll be like, oh, exalted Mars in my in Capricorn, my home kingdom, with who, by the way, gets VIP treatment by Saturn because he's exalted there, with Mercury. It's kind of like Saturn's going to bend over backwards to make whatever Mercury and Mars are trying to do happen. Okay. And we still have Pluto here. Pluto doesn't get the hell out of there until the 20th. And that's going to be another piece of the sky that's so intense. All right. So let's get talking about each sign. Let's talk about Aries to start. So Aries, sun, moon, and rising, especially rising, most accurate usually. This is a story where you're going to look at, go back December 8th, December 18th, and now January 19th. How has the God of communication and ideas been trying to help you revise and change your visible career and reputation objectives, how the world sees you as somebody who has a message, or what kind of deals and negotiations are you making in your business and reputation area? What kind of applications and job opportunities have you been seeking? What kind of marketing and selling are you capable of in the career zone of your chart, and also new ideas as well? So Mercury may have said something like on December 8th, I got a great idea, or let's go in this direction. It's going to make us money. We're going to be very prosperous because Jupiter is in the second house of earnings, and we're really excited by this. And then on December 18th, oh, Mercury goes back to talk to Jupiter again. Now, Jupiter is retrograde, so Jupiter can't even deliver the goods till the final act on January 19th. He's more like also going back over old ground to redo, reinvestigate, remedy, fix, cure, kind of like stuff to do with your finances, your earnings, your savings, your spending. And so this second pass on December 18th is kind of a Mercury talking to Jupiter again. Well, they're both retrograde, both going back over old ground, so to speak, and talking about it and asking each other, how can we benefit this Aries person to prosper and thrive and grow with perfect timing and buying and selling and moving forward in their career and earnings story, especially with Mars here. Because then on January 18th, that exalted Mars, who steps into Capricorn on the 5th of December or 3rd of December, around that time, is also ambitiously trying to do the same thing. And now here's the thing. This last pass on January 19th with this mini grand trine may play out something like, I finally got clear about how to be bounteous and prosperous and thrive in my earnings and money and spending and saving stories through my career and reputation. Yay, me. But I now know what I need to cut away and let go of. Mars is in Capricorn, exalted, but he's always got a sword, scissors, and shears in his hand. But I also know where to direct my hyper-inflated passion and ambition to pull something off. And technically, it could be a 2-year story, but I'll go more into that when I talk about the Mars visibility story in a video for January. And Saturn, who wants everything to go well in his 10th house, says, can we get money from international shores? Can we do international revenue, PayPal, Stripe? Can we work for a foreign company? Can we embrace foreigners and foreign nationals in our earning strategy? Can we move to a foreign country? Can we also get income because we have managed to become more sober and realistic about our addictions and maybe kind of cut out a bad habit that was holding us back from our career? Jupiter and what you put in your mouth, Saturn in the house of self and doing. Some of you may have gotten a handle on a addiction or bad habit of substance use or abuse or dependencies as well. And that turning point will be in the month of January. But all things put together, it enhances your money, career story in likely a very enduring new direction. Mars puts us in new directions. And again, last pass, January 19th. All right. You're probably wondering what happened there. Why am I going by day? Because I forgot to move it by hour. My mistake. There we go. And the software is failing to respond. So let me figure out what happened. It's on whole sign. All right. Let's get the software to, oh, this is, see, mischief maker Mercury. We won't advance the chart to the next sign. This is exactly what a pre-shadow can look like. If you knew what else went wrong in the pre-shadow with my 2024 All Signs videos, I had to redo a whole Leo video. And then one of my links was confused by my assistant and I confused my assistant and I had to fix it. And so it was kind of a, disaster getting this product out to you guys. Okay. So I'm pausing the video while I figure out what's going on with the software. Then we'll get to Taurus. This is crazy. Oh no. Okay, guys, I got it fixed. This is Astrogold. People ask me all the time. It has a glitch when you use whole sign houses. If you convert away from it and go back to it, then it never really wants to take it back, and you have to go to some weird house system and then reset the whole thing. I have no idea how the software developers have not fixed this glitch yet. Here we go. All right, so you are looking at a Taurus sun, moon, and rising sign story here. We have Mercury on December the 8th. In direct motion in Capricorn, bumping into that trine to Jupiter, and then following that December 18th, and then we're here now at January 19th, the grand finale. It's something like this. Mercury wants you to come up with a deeper connection to what spiritual faith or philosophy or belief in life is really most precious and true for who you are. Mercury says up here that he wants you to really think about how perhaps your university education or your visas, passports, or foreign travel stories have to be reassessed because you went retrograde here. And finally, how you might have to really rethink or reassess. Give me a second. It's really hot up here now. I have to open the window, and I know, I could have done it beforehand. I know. All right. And even how you might find this story looking like a chance to go back over some negotiations or agreements around publications and book publishing. Another meaning of the ninth house, finally, court and legal matters as well. Now, here's the thing. The deeper meaning of the ninth house has something to do with your dharma, the meaning of your life, your philosophy of life, how you see the universe working. And so the faith, you have. And Mercury's talking to Jupiter, the king of religious and spiritual philosophy, and the word faith. You can't discount that. You can't ignore that. So there's something going on here where Jupiter would like to get some sort of deeper sense of faith, hope, and optimism as he is connecting to that Mercury, and look for those light spots in your day or your sky around December 8th and 18th of leaning into something that makes you feel more jubilant, hopeful, and optimistic that God or the universe does have your back, and it is indeed perhaps truly a friendly place, despite evidence to the contrary at times. At the same time, on a practical note, Jupiter does love to travel, and you may be hoping to make a trip or take some kind of journey, or simply to succeed in a higher educational setting or with a legal court matter. And I think that January 19th, with this trine to Saturn, is boding extremely well. A very visible Mercury, or a slightly visible Mercury, is rising here, holding Mercury's hand. So Mars, is holding Mercury's hand. Mars is exalted. Time to make a dramatic, bold, passionate, directional shift regarding your spiritual philosophy, your academic environment, ambitions and goals, your legal matters and court matters, or your travel plans to foreign places. And make sure, according to Saturn, that what you choose is in alignment with your life's deepest wishes and dreams. Saturn in the 11th. It also may connect you to a longer arc of career earnings and career success and gains in your career over the next couple of years, because it's connected to Saturn in your 11th house of great gains. And it's also possible that what Saturn may ask for in this mini trine is for you to see if there's something of long-term value in what you wish to accomplish in your spiritual philosophy and all the other ninth house areas of meaning that I iterated. Because Saturn is about wisdom, sagacity, and the long game. So you'll be turning some corners in your dharmic path, maybe in the use of your gifts and talents, and how you wish to operate in a place of authentic connection to what your soul's purpose may truly be. That's how it looks to me. Now, Mercury here, he's really about, do you need to write a letter? Do you need to make a phone call? Or does a letter or phone call come in, or an email, or some kind of thing out of the ninth house? Like your tickets are printed, or you get your thing booked for your trip, or your ability to get some good news out of the educational setting is you get your grades, coming in over the transom, or you get accepted at your favorite school. This is all happening around January 18th and 19th and 20th. So, but in a deeper meaning, I try to explain to you, you're lucky. You're lucky in book publishing. You're lucky in academia. You're lucky in foreign travel. But Saturn says, is it valuable in the long run? Make sure you're aiming for what you want and aiming true. So Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is going to be a very interesting time for you because this is happening in a very deeply darker part of the sky. You don't really witness the eighth house very well from your Gemini perch, but Mercury is retrograding in Capricorn. Don't forget, he spends a lot of time in your eighth house of chunky money. Gemini, he's going to be there, December 1st to February 5th in Capricorn, minus his, slip back to your seventh. And I kind of feel like this can really look like something about you really want to come up with some new ideas, or you really want to take some commercial buying and selling decisions to do with mortgages, banks, bank loans, taxes, tax structures, things to do with inheritances or stock investments. And you're really pondering all of this. And when Mercury retrogrades December 18th in a trine to Jupiter, maybe opportunities from your past financially could be returning to you to do with older investment ideas or older things to do with shared resources with inheritances. Maybe there was inheritance due you, almost due you, slightly due you, some chunky money due you from the past, and here it's coming forward from your past around December 18th. And then on January 19th, he goes forward and creates this mini grand trine with Saturn. So we have everything direct here, Saturn and Jupiter and Mercury. Everything's moving forward with great gusto. And I think that Mars is saying to, Mercury, let's hurry up here and make some really passionate executive decisions. Let's take action. Let's move forward ambitiously regarding all eighth house matters. Sometimes it's just simple as a tax restructuring of the way you do your life. Because Saturn is in the 10th house of career, and it may incline you to look at ways to stabilize your longer term financial gain in a career path by looking at Jupiter, legal matters, wisdom and knowledge, especially if it involves revenue generated from foreign countries and foreign shores, which we can easily do in our modern world with PayPal, Stripe accounts, and other payment processors that take us across borders, no matter where we live. So there's a big change here coming, but it's going to increase your wealth, basically, and it's going to increase your ability to generate that wealth in lasting and meaningful ways in the career zone of your chart as well. Now we have the Cancer, Sun, Moon, and most accurate rising people. This is going to be Mercury moving through your Capricorn 7th house of marriage from December 1st to February 5th, but retrograding from December 13th to January 1st. That is going to be a time in which you are either looking at your partner who's changing their mind a lot back and forth, and your partner looking at certain types of things that they're trying to do with buying and selling and good timing, because this is your significant business and love partner, but it's also your audience and marketplace. And there may be a lot of changes going on, Cancers, and how you reach out to those people that you call your marketplace, audience, and client base. And so Mercury is rethinking things during the retrograde, right? So December 13th to January 1st, or your partner's rethinking something about their life. But because there's this ongoing trine to Jupiter, this is saying there's going to be some bounteous financial opportunity through things you're doing with your partnerships and your career, your business and your career, your outreach to your clients and others, and your career purpose. But also your partner may have a lucky break, because Jupiter is in the house of his joy, where good things happen, karmic rewards happen. And if a lucky break happens for your significant marriage type partner, for example, this can bring them into alignment with a financial opportunity that is going to be very positive. As we look at the end of the month on January 17th, 18th, 19th, you see that trine forming. Mercury is very, very excited to tell Saturn, I've got it. I'm in your house. Mars is saying, I'm helping him. Let's get some ambitious forward momentum here. But also Saturn here can be cutting and ending and severing. And if your Cancer, Sun, Moon, or rising is anywhere near 9 or 10 degrees, this is where you may feel, even from 5 to 15 degrees, you may feel a sharp sword from your partner, and somebody, you or your partner in business or love, may be having conversations about cutting away from the partnership. It could be happening, but it does focus on a good outcome in your 9th house of courts and legal matters, things to do with your spiritual philosophy, your belief about what is true in life. Saturn also is trying to fortify successful outcomes to do with universities, colleges and campus, foreign shores, and travel and book publishing. For many of you, Mercury, Mars, and Saturn is like getting an agent, getting a publisher, getting a book publishing contract. If you're a Cancer in that area of reality, I love this January 17th, 18th, and 19th for you. All right, Leo, Sun, Moon, and rising sign. I had to find a less, what do you call it? Glare on my screen in reality here. There we go. So hang in there, guys. Try traveling without your ring light, without your recording studio, and makeshift situations. All right. That's what happened here. Okay, so Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Basically, we have this energy of Mercury retrograding in your sixth house. He gets into your sixth house, which is your work, your health, your pets, and your rental situations. I keep saying these over and over again. You guys should get my Meanings of the Houses PDF and just read it every time I'm here. And basically, December 1st to February 5th, Mercury is in that sixth house. So there's a lot going on to do with buying and selling with pets, renegotiating rental leases and contracts, paying off debts, and maybe even things to do with improving your health, and maybe also things to do with work opportunities and situations and communications regarding your work. So December 13th to January 1st is the retrograde, of course, I mentioned earlier. So number one, on December 8th, 18th, and then January 19th, there are 3 conversations that Mercury is having. And this is a 3-part story, maybe one story in 3 parts. How are you going to make some maybe new ideas happen that you're excitedly passionate about regarding your work situation that's going to be very profitable and very successful, with Jupiter giving you a huge amount of luck in your work, in your career, and in your reputation, by the way, all the way through to the 3rd week of May. But here we start off so strong, direct motion Jupiter, direct motion Mercury. This is a work career energy. You are up leveling in this area of work career. Okay, yay you. You can't go wrong. And at the same time, it ends with some Saturnian support. Maybe you're able to change your tax structures. Maybe you're able to get some kind of venture capital funding. Maybe you're able to get some financial guidance and advisory information from like a financial planner that helps the money you do make, the up levels you are having in rental situations and work and career situations increase. Certainly, Mercury Mars here can help you eliminate a debt, pay off a credit card, pay off a mortgage, but it's all connected to this luck you're experiencing in your career space. It's not like a lottery win that I can tell, at least. I'm not sure, but it doesn't look particularly like a lottery win to me. All right, so let's keep moving and talk about the next sign. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. So first of all, Lord Mercury is the Lord of your sign, as it is for Gemini, which I didn't mention. And this means that you need to pay attention. He is in your 5th house of romance, children, pregnancy, fun, play, pleasure, sociably having a good time, enjoying your life. 5th house, entrepreneurship, creative projects. If you're working on writing a song, doing a painting, writing a book, being an artist, being a creative type. So Mercury here is giving you new ideas. He's here from, a long time, December 1st to February 5th, all over, in general. And so you're going to have a lot of new ideas, a lot of different ways of thinking about your 5th house matters. When he retrogrades on December 13th, he may, till January 1st, make you hear from former lovers, former romantic partners from the past coming out of the woodwork. That's quite common. But he's also helping you revise your ideas around projects that involve communication or creativity or entrepreneurship. So you're doing that revision. You may also revise or change your mind around major love relationships that are romantic, or you may be rethinking your strategies in those love relationships. You may also be looking at something to do with one of your children, and Mercury retrograde here could be some information, news, phone calls from your children. But it's that 3-part touchdown with Jupiter that I'm most interested in. Jupiter is like, okay, I want to help you up here in your house of higher academics and colleges, book publishing and book publishing contracts, teaching, guides, mentors, gurus could be up here, therapists sometimes. Jupiter could play those roles. Also your spiritual philosophy, also abundant opportunities and success for foreign travel and journeys. So Jupiter's up there direct, and he's flowing to Mercury in your 5th house of leisure, travel, and pleasure, fun and enjoyment. And then there's this Saturn with a significant other. You may travel with a significant love partner or a significant business partner. As a result of this, it could definitely look like a very fun, leisure trip. But why would that matter? Like, what's the big deal about a fun leisure trip? Like, do we really care? And actually, you have to go back and connect it to December 8th, December 18th, and January 19th, because this is also about instilling a deep sense of passion, drive, will, and that Mars exalted in your 5th house regarding your creative projects, regarding your entrepreneurial spirit, regarding your desire for sexuality and romance, regarding fertility and having children. Mars is exalting the energy here with Mercury. I don't know. Jupiter is an abundance god, but also a fertility god, rules children. Saturn's in the house of the other. Mercury is the news. This can be for some Virgo, sun, moon, and risings, like hearing that your partner is pregnant or finding out that you're pregnant, likely your partner is pregnant because of the Saturn in the 7th house. If that's good news for a Virgo, wonderful. Moving forward. This is pithy, guys. We'll be doing a lot more videos on this. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're watching the live premiere. Subscribe, share. You guys know the drill. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. We have Mercury here down in the 4th house. For goodness sakes, in Capricorn, more or less between December 1st and February 5th. And as he's going through this part of your chart, there's a slip back to the 3rd house. We'll do that in another video. He's basically all about home, property, land, and real estate. And with that trine to Jupiter in 3 parts, it's about buying, selling, negotiating deals, refinancing the mortgage, getting a loan, home equity loan, paying off debts connected to property, getting some legacy money from the family of origin. Yes, inheritance monies, downlines from the family of origin, even just, here, kid, have some money, or, whatever, parental or familial money coming to you. And this is going to start off December the 8th, then retrograde December 18th, and then January 19th again. We find grand finale here. So it can really impact your work situation in a good way. You might change your job or be able to stabilize your work or your rental place conditions, thanks to some financial abundance coming here to renegotiate something in an exalted way, to change your home, especially if your IC floats in the 4th house, to move into a new place, to live into go to a new home, negotiate a new lease. It's very positive. If you were wanted to have a pet, could get a very beautiful and lasting new pet in this time frame as well. This is also very positive for you if you're doing any kind of writing or communicating in and from your home. Now, when Mars is here, and it can make you some serious money. But with Mars, if you're selling, writing, or communicating from your home base, this is a very prosperous time for you that has been building December 8th, December 18th, and grand finale, January 19th. But during the retrograde, around December 18th, you might have been rethinking your strategies. Mars here can be renovations in the home. And so there may be some also renovations in the home around January 19th. But if so, it's to help you succeed financially and relevant to your work. Okay. So maybe you move your home closer to your work, less commuting. Maybe you change your home so you have a home-based office that works for you, that kind of stuff. Oh, and certainly it's good to buy and sell real estate under this energy, all right, around this last, January 19th, but, all of it, December 18th, December 8th, and then January 19th, are really good for purchases of property or real estate, or selling of property or real estate, or getting landlord tenants arrangements to work for you. And now we're moving on to Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Scorpio people, this is a story of Mercury in your 3rd house of communications, ideas, the websites you have, your social media platforms, your virtual neighborhood, your neighbors, your siblings, especially younger cousins can be here too, and short distance travel and skills-based learning. Yeah, the junk drawer of the cadent 3rd house. Now it's also the house of the goddess, and it involves mysterious things like scryers and tarot readers. And as you look at this 3rd house, you can see that Mercury will be here for a really long while, more or less. December 1st to February 5th, minus his Sagittarius back end. And I feel like this is going to be a very important time for Scorpios regarding writing projects, communications projects, new ideas, maybe a bit of back and forth travel plans during this longer story. The retrograde, December 13th to January 1st, is where you're going back over some old ground in communications projects, selling projects, ideas, marketing, things to do maybe with writing projects as well. Maybe things to do with travel plans. So the retrograde isn't great for travel for you guys. Watch out. Well, you can still travel. It's just maybe unexpected changes in your plans around the travel, December 13th to January 1st. However, it's that trine to Jupiter that we are focused on. And that trine to Jupiter says there's something very positive happening with your audience, your marketplace, your public, with your significant marriage type partnership, long-term love partner, and business partners. Connected to 3rd house matters, connected to Saturn at the end of it all on January 19th in a trine, sextile in a mini trine. Well, Saturn wants to give you lasting results enduring legacy results in your creative projects, entrepreneurial businesses, or things to like writing, singing, dancing, whatever, projects you do creatively and artistically. And he also says he wants to give you lasting, enduring love here and wants to give you serious, sober-minded energies around reducing your pleasure and your overindulgences in life. So you're very serious here. And you're more serious about having fun. And around the 19th, Scorpio, Saturn says something like, after all this rigmarole, you've got a hit. After all this back and forth, you've got a great legal contract for something to do with your creative projects, your website, your entrepreneurial business. You could maybe be seeing some fertility and pregnancy news possibly here, with Jupiter in the 7th from a partner and Mercury being the information news, the phone call, the email, hey, honey, I'm pregnant. But that's not the most likely interpretation. Mercury is somebody who here is being encouraged by Mars to be very bold, ambition, and passion and drive, exalted in that creative writing, communicating, selling, and marketing house. I mean, there's a lot of oomph for the power of your words, or the power of your ideas, the power of your mind and your thinking to be really revved up to bring some greater abundance to you and your partner or to your audience and marketplace. Also, a very mundane thing about the 19th, maybe a short distance trip with the one you love. So let's just pause while I grab water. You guys try talking all day. Kind of think I'm going to end up with nodes, right? Like nodes on my vocal cords. And don't forget, like, subscribe. If you're on the live premiere, hit that bell for notifications, and you know the drill. Okay, so Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Mercury in your second house has a narrative here, something along the lines of how can we really rearrange our earnings and our finances here, especially the way we make money. He also could be suggesting that you really work on your voice and also dive a little bit more deeply into thinking more firmly about the food you need to not eat in your life or substances you should not ingest. So he's in this part of your chart with all of that to work on. He does like, however, to spend sometimes or sell, market and sell. You might be selling objects, selling things you own, especially property and real estate. We'll get to that later. And he's in this money house, the second, for a long time, December 1st to February 5th. However, on the 13th to January 1st, he is retrograde. 13th of December to January 1st, he's retrograde. As he goes backwards, you might rethink some ideas, go over some old change your mind about a money situation, go back over some old ideas about what you want to buy or sell in order to prosper. You may also take back your word, basically, on something you promised to somebody, especially in a work environment. So this is happening for you. And then what happens is then he will go direct. And the 3 passes to Jupiter, December the 8th, December 17th, and January 19th, is something like, Mercury wants you to obviously prosper in Capricorn. He does have Pluto Sun energy at the very end of it. So he wants you to be very successful professionally as well. And he forms a trine to Jupiter in your work house and health house. So this could be improvements in work and health. And at the end of it all, with Mars here, after about December 3rd, it's about eliminating substances you should not ingest. Again, you know the drill, guys, wine, cigarettes, whatever, bad foods for you. So you might have the knowledge or understanding Mercury in order to, or the idea to eliminate food and be bountifully healthy, Jupiter in the 6th. But it can look like a work opportunity. It could be all of this stuff, December 8th to 18th and January 19th, can be applying for jobs, can be about trying to find a new work opportunity because Mercury rules your 10th house of career. So a lot of this for a lot of you is job applications, job research, job this, job that, job search, maybe career search, career change, ideas changing your career. And then boom, January 19th, it's this lovely flow of a big yes. You got the job, you found the perfect job, you applied for the perfect job at last, everyone's in direct motion. And then Saturn says, and we're sticking the landing in the 4th house. What else can we say about that? A chance to work from home, a chance to be stably employed from home, a chance to work close to home, a chance to secure some kind of stability in your home that is good for your health and work situations. an ideal rental opportunity coming through that's going to help you fortify your health and your financial bounty in your work environment. An opportunity to receive a pet that's going to help your health and your sense of well-being and encourage you to be more consistent in your earnings, but passionate and driven as well. All of these are possible as this grand finale of January 19th unfolds. All right, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. This is your story here because it's happening in your sign. This is definitely a Mercury. Here you have ideas. You have the ideas. You're thinking, you're ideating, you're communicating, you're messaging, you're emailing, you're phone calling, you're doing all Mercury stuff, right? And that's a lot of time. I mean, December 1st to February 5th, there's a lot of Mercury cap going on. And then, of course, he does turn into retrograde motion December 13th to January 1st with some entrance into your 12th house. I will be doing a video on the 12th house ingress, a whole separate video, because it's going to be very important to know what happens during that turnaround, okay? Into the as he moves into Sag. But for now, I want to keep it simple. I want you to think about it this way. There's some kind of thinking you've been doing, and you're willing to change your thinking on it, or you change your mind on it for sure, between December 13th and January 1st. You're willing to go back and reconsider something you've been thinking about. But it's all about the following themes. It's about Jupiter in your 5th house, entrepreneurship, consulting, independent enterprise, creativity, art, your children, fertility. It's a big fertility cycle for Cap risings, for pregnancy, but you're rethinking things. Jupiter here can also have you feeling lucky, and you might be feeling prosperous and have some money luck even, but you're still thinking, going back over some old ground and rethinking something around the retrograde of December the 18th, especially that part of the retrograde starts on December 13th, is where you're rethinking it and you're asking Jupiter for help. Jupiter, which is the most bounteous, profitable, successful, happiest, joyful direction I can go in my entrepreneurship, creative projects, short distance trips and travel, leisure travel, things to do with money and money luck, things to do with harnessing your talents and gifts in the world, your natural skills and talents. And Mars is entering into the story at the grand finale of January 19th, teaming up with Mercury, and an exalted Mars now becoming visible is asking you to rise into some sort of new authentic power as a writer, communicator, messenger, ideator, maybe some creative projects, maybe a book, maybe a new website, maybe a new entrepreneurial endeavor. And it all is forming a flowing sextile energy to the tip of a triangle with Saturn in your 3rd house of travel, that siblings, younger, your local neighborhood and neighbors, and writing projects and communications projects. And a lot of this can look very much like some real beginning here in January from a lot of mulling and reconsidering December 8th, December 18th, and January 19th, what the hell you want to do to be authentically, ambitiously powered up as a force to be reckoned with, a dynamic commander-in-chief of your life, Mars, Pluto, Mars exalted, that also brings you deep enjoyment and satisfaction, Jupiter in the 5th house, as well as prosperity and money luck that connects to what Saturn wants for you in the long run. Some of this could look like finding your ideal neighborhood because you don't like where you live, especially for some of you with an IC in the 3rd house, but with a North Node in the 4th house, a lot of Caps are looking for their ideal place to live no later than the spring of 25. And this is a beginning of that process unfolding. And Saturn here, finally in the 3rd house, can be something to do with giving form and structure to some travel plan, finally, like booking the trip, or some creative project structure, like outlining the novel or the book. And that could be a very auspicious and prosperous start of something around January 19th in those areas. All right, I'm one of you, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising, and Mercury will be moving for a long time in Cap, December 1st to February 5th. And that's our 12th house of self-undoing, self-sabotage, and addictions. Yeah, the wine lover's middle way. Ask me how it's going. It's going actually very well. And Mercury is retrograding here, and we're thinking about things, but we're also getting a powerful dream messages. I cannot believe, forget the retrograde, the shadow is giving me as an Aquarius the most amazing dreams. Mercury is a dream messenger, a messenger of the gods. In the 12th house, he delivers all you need to know in your dream realm at night, nocturnally. But also Mercury can be communications from foreign shores and lands, and also increasing your commercial success by doing by working from a foreign country, in a foreign country with an international company, selling to foreigners, barter and trade with foreign lands. In my modern world as an Aquarius, that's just using PayPal, Stripe accounts to generate my revenue for my international business, right? Doesn't matter where I live. So that's Mercury. He's helping you with your new ideas, new directions, new thoughts about what you want, new messages about what you could have. But that trine to Jupiter is about commercial prosperity and buying and selling and success financially, but especially as it connects to fourth house matters, how you operate in and from your home, how you teach from your home, how you're joyful and bounteous in and from your home. But also you may have an opportunity with real estate to buy or sell a home, to get money from a property, and to change your home to even a foreign country or travel extensively to a foreign shore. During this whole story, I want you to look to December 8th, December 18th, and January 19th, because that's the 3 passes of Mercury and Jupiter in a trine, in a beautiful Earth trine. But don't forget, it is going to be this time a direct motion Mercury and a direct motion Jupiter on the 19th, the last pass in January, and a pointing of a triangle to Lord Saturn in your second house. Saturn in your second house, starting in February of last year, to the end of 25, is basically trying to level you up financially by giving you the structure and the ideas or the groundwork and laying a foundation for new reliable earnings, more austerity and constraint around the foods and things you put in your mouth that you shouldn't. Certainly, this can be a breakthrough in letting go of an addiction of some kind on January 19th, but it also can be a very big prosperity breakthrough around anything to do with property. Also, money coming from your family of origin or from some kind of inheritance type structure, tax rebate, insurance payouts, because Mercury is the ruler of your 8th house. So there's a bit of a financial bounty emerging around the 19th of January. And of course, it could happen as well through something to do with a foreign person or a foreign travel opportunity. I hope that's useful. Finally, it is the Pisces part of the story. You guys are wonderful. You guys are mystic poets. We need you on the planet. And so here we have a story of your sky suggesting that this long stay of Mercury in Capricorn, December 1st to February 5th, is really asking you to look more closely at your longer term dreams or wishes or goals or plans for your life. And that's going to be a big part of it, the rethinking of what you really want. However, benefactors, allies, and elder siblings belong to the 11th, and you may have communications from friends from the past, especially December 13th to January 1st, friends and allies coming out of the woodwork, elder siblings communicating with you after you've been out of touch, things like that. So look for that possibility. But everything comes back to that trine to Jupiter. And Jupiter is all about opportunity, prosperity, and growth. In this case, through travel, through siblings, through cousins, through the local neighborhood environment, through neighbors, through writing projects, through skills-based classes. So Jupiter wants you to prosper, Pisces. And on the online world, especially, Jupiter can be very effective at building a beautiful website that really reaches out to the world in a good way. Jupiter can help you get your social media stuff up and running. So this story is longer than a day, right? Because it is December 8th, December 18th, and January 19th. But the last pass on January 19th with Jupiter, Mercury is now teamed up with Lord Saturn in its exaltation and becoming available to witness in our sky. And this team is very strong. And Mercury and exalted Mars are focused very strongly at how you could be very bountiful in that 3rd house area of your chart. Really good for great for writing projects can really take off on you. Or amazing golden travel opportunities coming as a connection to a benefactor. As well, the prosperity is there. You know, whatever you're doing for travel, it brings prosperity. Learning, it brings prosperity. Writing projects bring prosperity and abundance. But also Saturn, you are Saturn. The tip of this little triangle points at you. You have sagacity, wisdom, Zen-like master energies that you're trying to embody. You want to be realistic. You want to be bring tangible results to your visions and dreams, Saturn and Neptune in your first house. And you really want to be able to choose wisely. Mercury can be about, left or right, up or down, and Saturn is choosing wisely, a golden opportunity. It may or may not involve travel, but it could also involve travel or online world or websites. And this is January the 19th. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you don't have a trip planned, or you're going to travel, or you're thinking of traveling in January and around the 19th. Anything that stabilizes around those plans, because you've chosen wisely, will bring ultimately a huge deal of prosperity to you over the course of even a couple of years. All right, so that's about it. Anything else I want to say? Nope. Don't forget, I have a Gazimi webinar coming up. Anything else I want to say for you guys? Am I forgetting anything? Legal contracts too. You may be looking at some legal agreements, legal contracts coming up for you to do with Mercury's rulership of your 7th, or business partnerships as well on January 19th, give or take a few days on either side, or some significant aspects of your primary business and love relationship somehow blending in to what's going on January 19th. Okay, so thanks for listening. I hope you guys found that somewhat intriguing and useful. Don't forget, we're getting rid of this Earth trine energy with Jupiter, moving into like a whole different area of air next October and then into 25. So this is an energy of physical, tangible prosperity and commercial success that you're capitalizing on at the end of this year. And into next year, early next year. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Please check out my description box for my 2024 $59 ho-ho sale. It's no longer available at the $49 pre-order price, but you can still get it for $59. After that, in January, it goes up to $77, unless I'm having like a special like Valentine's Day. That's going to stay the price for the rest of the year. Those are 12 videos. They're 75 minutes long each, to 90. Please think about whether that is something you would like to have to share with friends and family. That's the price for the bundle. You can buy the a la carte videos for each for $25, but I'm not reducing the price on those. They're already affordable. That's why the bundle makes a lot more sense. Okay. Take care. Thanks to my regulars. I hope you guys have a wonderful Mercury retrograde.